We begin, though, with a report that you won't see anywhere else. It's where every child's dream comes true, where you're supposed to feel safe and kids can be kids. As parents, you're going to want to pay close attention to our next story. It's an investigation involving child sex predators in some of the most famous theme parks in this country. Now, as you're getting ready to pack the family van and head to Central Florida's Disney World, Universal Studios, or even SeaWorld, you want to see what we found in our 6-month investigation. We're talking about a pattern of theme park employees arrested in sex stings after work hours. Here's CNN investigative correspondent Kira Phillips.
They are people you would least expect. Some are married with children.
I've been on Craigslist looking for a friend.
Others have been working with children for years.
I work around kids all the time at Disney.
This man even admits to having sex with an underage teen before getting caught.
We talked and kissed.
All of them employees at Florida's Walt Disney World, known as the happiest place on earth. All of them arrested. A CNN investigation found since 2006, at least 35 Disney employees have been arrested for sex crimes against children, trying to meet minors for sex, or for possession of child pornography. And it's not just Disney. 5 employees were arrested from Universal Orlando and 2 from SeaWorld. So far, 32 have been convicted, 8 have pled not guilty, and 2 have not entered a plea. To be clear, none of these cases involve children or teenagers visiting the parks. However, according to law enforcement, despite the most stringent background checks, child sexual predators are still being hired.
Do you think that it was wrong to come here to meet a 14-year-old?
Yes.
This is 40-year-old Alan Treaster, who police say advertised himself online as Big Teddy Bear for Younger Chaser. He was a concierge at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, previously working the Toy Story ride. This is Treaster getting arrested after police say he showed up to meet what he thought was a 14-year-old boy, hoping, according to his text messages, to fulfill a fantasy.
Stop right there.
Treaster was actually communicating with an undercover detective. He has pled not guilty. However, listen to what he tells detectives during his interrogation. He actually confesses to having sex with a teenage boy just 3.5 weeks before this Polk County sting.
So you still went there for that, to have sex with him, knowing that he was 15 years old?
Was that another fantasy? I mean, that was, again, a younger age, so...
I guess.
That's right. Treaster admits he drove to Georgia to have sex with a 15-year-old boy he met online.
My life is ruined. My family's life is ruined.
49-year-old Robert Kingsolver was a maintenance supervisor at Disney's Magic Kingdom, monitoring and fixing rides like Teacups, Winnie the Pooh, and It's a Small World. He says he loved his job, especially the children.
To see the look on the children's faces, when they get to see, Prince Charming or maybe running into Mickey. That was the best part, is just seeing kids glow and seeing their heroes.
That all ended in February when Kingsolver pulled into this driveway, not knowing that he was walking into a sting operation. Within seconds, he is caught and arrested for trying to seduce and lure a 14-year-old child to have sex. Take a look at the graphic text messages between Kingsolver and the undercover detective who was posing as an underage girl. Kingsolver says he's a cuddling and snuggling kind of guy who enjoys giving oral sex.
The bottom line is, obviously, you were talking to an undercover law enforcement officer. You weren't talking to a 14-year-old girl, okay? The bottom line boils down to is that conversations that you had, maybe with the girl later on, was sexual in nature, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Okay. See, we're over that.
Even though he admits to police he wrote the messages,
I would never.
He tells us he was just trying to protect the girl. He has pled not guilty and says his family is standing by him.
They love me. My kids know me, and they know how much I care for kids. They know how much I love them, all four of my kids. And they know that their dad is not somebody that would go out and hurt a young child. They know their dad is somebody that would go out and protect a young child at any cost.
And the arrests are continuing. 4 Disney employees were caught in sting operations in just the last 5 weeks. Our investigation reveals year after year, Walt Disney World employees are getting arrested for child porn and in sex stings set up by Florida police agencies. And it's not just maintenance workers like Robert Kingsolver. It's security guards, a performer, a costume maker, even a pastor. This is 50-year-old Cedric Cuthbert, a former custodial manager at Disney World's Port Orleans Resort, and also a pastor. Police say he was downloading child pornography and soliciting a child for sex online while on the clock at Disney, and at the same time writing a sermon for his church.
What do you have to say to the
Cuthbert pled no contest and was sentenced to 6 years in prison.
We go after these predators with a vengeance.
Grady Judd is the sheriff of neighboring Polk County, known nationally for his aggressive approach to child sex predators.
I talked to a number of these men, and they said, it's entrapment. I was totally set up.
What else are they going to say? Are they going to get on national news and say, I'm a pervert? I'm a child predator? I seek sex with little boys? No, they're not going to say that. When they tell you that, look them in the eye and say, you're a liar. What you really are is a pervert, a sexual pervert, and a child predator.
I have never done this. I have no bad record. I was my child.
This is 32-year-old Patrick Holgerson, a Disney street performer and VIP tour guide in training. He's seen here in photo after photo posted on his Facebook page. He tried to run from police when they say he showed up to have sex with a 13-year-old boy. It was a sting. Holgerson had engaged in graphic sexual chat, even sending a picture of himself with Mickey Mouse, and it got more explicit from there. Holgerson has pled not guilty. He, too, told police he was just looking out for the child.
I was going to see if he was really doing this, and I felt it was wrong, and I was going to actually call it in once I left here.
Disney declined our request for an on-camera interview, but in a statement said, we have extensive measures in place, including pre-employment and ongoing criminal background checks, and computer monitoring and firewalls. The numbers reported by CNN represent 1/100th of 1% of the 300,000 people we have employed during this time period. We continue to work closely with law enforcement and organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children as we constantly strengthen our efforts. So what does the co-founder of the Center for Missing and Exploited Children say about sexual predators being hired at businesses that cater to children?
This is a real threat.
Ernie Allen is the president of the International Center. He says for every sexual predator that gets caught, there are still thousands of them we don't know about out there, trolling for children.
Most of those who have criminal records are the dumb ones. They're the ones who've gotten caught. Most of those who prey upon children don't have criminal records.
Is there more that Disney could do?
I think there's more that Disney can do. There's more that everybody can do. It's hard to imagine a company that's tried harder to address this issue than Disney.
Disney's competitors, Universal and SeaWorld, face the same challenges. This is 23-year-old Matthew Cody Myers.
Face that way, man.
Universal Studios fired him after he was arrested in Polk County's most recent sting. Police say he showed up to have sex with someone he thought was a 14-year-old girl.
So when the sex was instigated by you, what did you say to instigate the sex act?
I was like, would you want to?
Want to what?
Have sex.
Take some deep breaths.
I'm trying.
Myers told police he wouldn't have really gone through with it, and he has pled not guilty. Universal told us we have zero tolerance for this kind of activity. We deal with situations such as this immediately and permanently. Like Disney and SeaWorld, the company also said all our team members undergo thorough background checks as part of the hiring process. SeaWorld said the safety of our team members and employees is our top priority, adding that it has policies and procedures in place, and we take appropriate action as needed.
What we're doing with Disney and everyone else is we're putting shackles on them and then wondering why they can't win the race.
Sheriff Judd says businesses that cater to children need to go one step further and use polygraph tests.
Anyone that works around children, whether it's in church, in the nursery, or whether it's at Disney or any other of our theme parks, or whether it's in schools, we should be able to give a polygraph examination to them.
Reality is, Congress, citing privacy and civil liberties issues, has made it illegal for most private companies to polygraph employees.
It's the one tool that hasn't been employed.
Florida Congressman Dennis Ross, a former attorney for Disney World in the late 1980s, wants to change that.
They're doing all they can with what we've empowered them to do.
But the sexual predators are still getting hired, so...
Which is why we need to be vigilant and, as a policymaker, to give more tools so that we can prevent the next one from occurring.
After learning about our story, Congressman Ross introduced legislation that would give companies that serve children the option to polygraph employees, something Disney told us it would consider.
What's the ultimate result here?
That we save the next person that's out there. We owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our children, we owe it to our future to make sure that we do everything we can to make sure that the next victim never happens.
Kara Phillips joins us now. It's a fascinating report. I didn't realize about the polygraph. I mean, to Disney's point, it is a tiny fraction of the 300,000 employees they have.
Yes.
Bottom line, are these parks safe?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Disney, Universal, SeaWorld all insist, yes, this is a safe environment. And as we pointed out, none of these crimes...
We're happening on the...
Right, we're happening at the parks. But clearly, this is an issue, right? There's more to it. And so that's why Congressman Ross has responded to our investigation and said, hey, let's give them more tools. This is one more tool to help weed these guys out. And you heard Sheriff Judd. He laid it out there. Bottom line, predators go where the kids are.
Right, and this is not an issue even just of theme parks. It's a much wider problem in society.
Absolutely. And Congressman Dennis Ross also pointed that out. He feels that if all law enforcement saw this story, saw what Sheriff Judd has been doing, this aggressive approach to sex stings, that they could catch so many more sexual predators across this country.
Yo, what up, niggas? It's your boy Philko here, and as you can see, potential child molesters are back in the spotlight. Now, how do I feel about this? Of course. Now, a lot of things have been said about shows like this, which is mostly, as we remember, To Catch a Predator. A lot of people saying, oh, it's entrapment. Oh, you know, they're embarrassing these people for no reason. But sometimes it's worth embarrassing people, especially when they're trying to molest children. And it's funny how in the show, when they're talking about it, they're acting all surprised that they caught a, they're acting so shocked that they caught a priest. Like, even a priest, like, yeah, that's a person too. No, I've learned over the years that it doesn't matter what you do for a living, you could be a child molester too, so it doesn't fucking matter. So even a priest, yeah, him too, why are you surprised? No, he's not God, he's just a priest. He could do it too. No, he's not special. But the whole entrapment case really throws me off with this entrapment shit. Like, yeah, it's entrapment. I thought it was a 15-year-old girl, but, you know, it was an officer. He lied to me. Listen, when you're an adult, no matter what a 15-year-old girl, 12-year-old boy, whatever says to you, if you get a hard-on and you go over there because you want to get some, and you say, I'm coming over because I want to get some, you deserve prison time. You deserve prison time. That's it. You deserve prison time. Period. Why? Because it's a child. It is a child, dog. You're taking advantage of them. It's not like dating a bunch of grown women. You're trying to be with a bunch of children. You're taking advantage of their trust, of their just physical anatomy. You know, they're not that strong yet. Their mental state, they're not that smart yet. You're taking advantage of them completely in many, many ways. That's why this law is against it, and that's why I don't care that they're embarrassed, that they're going to jail. As long as there's proper evidence to show that they are actually trying to molest children, they deserve to go to jail. And I like that these shows are coming out, and I wish these shows were more popular. This is one of those reality shows that I watch because I like the fact that it's happening. I don't want to watch a bunch of fake hair, big butt wives of basketball players just fight with each other. There's nothing to be learned from that. And spreading that isn't helping anyone at all. Okay, it helps maybe 10% of the people watching it. But a show like To Catch a Predator or this new CNN shit, that's going to help more than 95% of the people who watch it. They're going to be more careful with children. They're going to be more careful with their own children too. They're going to start monitoring their children a little closer on the internet and stuff like that. It's very important that we have those shows. Because if you guys knew how common child molestation actually takes place in this country, you'd probably go fucking crazy. And how did I know I was going to get a message? You would probably lose your mind. Because I'm sure it happens much more than we think. Because most of it is hidden, of course. So it happens a lot more than we realize. And that's kind of, fucked up. You know what I mean? It's definitely fucked up. And I don't, like I said before, not that there's any shame in my, well, I do have one of I guess, child molestation experience. But it was from a guy, it was from a female family member, whatever. And I was like, I don't know, like really small. But it was nothing that really bothered me at the time. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I didn't realize what was going on until I was what? I didn't realize what actually happened until I was like 18 years old. And I thought, I was like, holy shit, that's what happened. You know, it never bothered me or anything. So that has nothing to do with who I am now. But the child molestation I did witness didn't happen to me because I was black. But I did witness it in my summer camp, which was at Lake Como. Yeah, Lake Como. It was in Lake Como. In Lake Como, Pennsylvania. And they were like, I found it to be, I didn't find it to be sexually weird. I just found it to be stupid. And what they were doing was they were taking photos of a bunch of the campers. You know, we were young boys, maybe 12, 13 years old. The counselors were taking pictures of us, bending over and like shaking our butts, like, and pulling down our pants. But I didn't do it because I don't even know how it started was the camp counselor, there were two of them. One had the camera, the other one was like, he was the smart one. He was getting them to do it. So what he did was he mooned us. And then white kids are like, moon us, we moon you back. And then they moon him back. They're like, what? I could moon longer than you. So then he moons for like 5 seconds. And then they all start mooning like, we moon you too. And they're like slapping their butts and stuff. And that's when the dude started taking pictures. He's like, you know what would be funny? If you all line up right here and I get a shot of you guys mooning us, it'll be the funniest thing. All the white kids, I was the only black kid. The only boys too, there were no girls there. All the boys lined up, there's like 9 of them. And just mooned them. And he just started taking pictures from as many angles and close as he wanted. Now, I remember me standing there like this. And I remember everyone kind of like not asking me or bothering to ask me to participate because I think it's because they knew I was black and odds are I would find something wrong with some of the things they do. Because no, I've maybe been there for a week. This was my first time. So because I was black, they kind of saw me as like kind of like an outsider, but they didn't treat me bad or anything. It was just kind of like, be careful with that kid. Because, you know, he's from Brooklyn and he's black. And so I guess they were careful with me. So the counselors didn't ask me. They didn't even look at me when they were doing this. I was just watching I just remember watching with my arms crossed thinking white kids are crazy. That's all I was thinking. These white boys are fucking out of their mind. This is the weirdest shit. I didn't think gay. I didn't think sex. I just thought they're just weird. Like, what is the point of pulling down your pants, showing your ass to some guys with a camera? Like, with all those clues in front of my face, like, people knew about sex way before me. Like, I didn't really have sex till I was 20. I didn't know much about it till I was maybe 17. But everyone knew way more about it way before I did. And as I watched these fucking guys do this, not one sexual thought popped in my head. Close up in the butthole, camera taking pictures, shaking it, slapping their butts and all this stuff. not one thought of sexualness came into my mind. I just thought it was stupid. I was a naive kid, I guess. I was a kid. And that's part of why it's not cool and why these people deserve extra punishment, like being embarrassed and stuff for for endangering the welfare of children. Now, some people want to compare this like men who have many women and sleep with different women and cheat on their wives. It's very different. Those people deserve their privacy. If somebody cheated on his wife, I don't think he should be blasted around the world as an evil man. You don't fucking know him. He's with another woman, and you don't know what his wife does to him. That's when I think you need to mind your business. When it's between two adults, you need to mind your business. If you hear a conversation of someone, like secret phone conversation recorded, and the guy goes, yeah, you know, I want to cheat on my wife with this hot girl, you know, she's 21, blah, blah, blah. That shouldn't be blasted all over the news and, oh, this guy's evil. You don't know what they're going through. And there's some wives out there who don't mind their husbands having sex with other women. It exists. And it's not as rare as you think. It's definitely not. It exists. And other than that, you don't know what his wife has done to him. But on the other hand, if there's a video, a secret audio, some guy saying, yeah, you know, that little boy, you know, he's 9, he wants to come over. You know, I think I'm going to make him do things with me. You know, he's a sexy little boy. You know, I don't know what they say about little boys. I don't know. But, you know, yeah, he's sexy. I want to spend some private time with him. You know, like touch him, feel him. I want him to touch him and feel me. You know, we did a little bit of it. You know, I want to do more. All that kind of stuff that person deserves to go to jail because they're planning on it. It shows what their inhibitions are, what they want to do. They deserve to go to jail. Even if they haven't done it, if they say anything that shows that they're planning on doing it or it's in the works, they deserve to go to jail. But let me say one more thing before I go. There is a difference between people who are attracted to children and they're admitting it. That's different. So if someone's like goes to a hospital and said, okay, for some reason I'm sexually attracted to children, I don't know what to do. That person shouldn't fucking go to jail. They're trying to seek help. They're telling you they're attracted to children. So what are they supposed to do? If they're attracted to children, they can't help it. They have a problem. They're telling you they got a problem. You help them out. You keep them away from children. You put them in the hospital, whatever you have to do. Those people aren't evil. They have problems. There are many people with different kinds of problems. And if you're one of those people who, honestly, this ain't even a joke. This is not a joke. If you're one of those people who are sexually attracted to children, and when I say children, I don't mean like some 16, 17-year-old. We're all attracted to 16, 17-year-olds sometimes. Maybe even you're attracted to a 15 or maybe even a 14-year-old sometimes, but there's a difference between being attracted to something and willfully really want to do something with a child, especially a child who hasn't even reached the age of 13. Like children who hasn't, pedophilia. Those are children who hasn't even reached like their first period or something like that, you know? Like hasn't even reached maturity at all. Nature doesn't even say they're ready. Like that is definitely a problem. That's a serious problem. Now, being attracted to like teenagers, you know, it's natural to be attracted to teenagers. You know, so if you're a 35-year-old man, you see a 16-year-old girl and you're thinking to yourself, she's sexy, you're normal. But if you're a 35-year-old man, you see an 11-year-old girl and you're like, she's sexy, you might have an issue. Especially if you're looking at 7, 6, 5, sometimes 4 years old and you're thinking these people are sexy, you definitely have an issue. Trust me on that. If you're ever sexually attracted to numerous children who are under the age of, let me think carefully, who are 12 and under, you definitely have issues. And there's no going around it. I would say, I don't think, okay, let's say 11 and younger. Just to be, so I'm not saying it's okay to be attracted to 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. What I'm saying is some girls mature faster than others. So it's not that big of a deal if you're attracted to a woman who is at least a woman by nature. So let's say a lot of 13-year-olds, when they have their period, they are able to have babies. That's nature's way of saying they're ready. But because we're human beings, we don't follow just those natural rules. You know, they have a lot more to learn. They have to get their minds right. There's a lot more in the civilized world that we got to realize just from, rather than just listening to nature's way of saying they're ready. So 13 may be ready to, 13-year-olds may be ready, females, or boys, whatever, may be ready for sexual stuff, physically, but mentally, they're not ready, and for civilization, they're not ready either, because there's still a lot they have to learn. So, I'm just saying, if you have problems, don't let people scare you, go seek help. Don't just try to hide it, because you know what, that's the problem. A lot of you people are too aggressive with people who try to open up about their problems. So it's like some people say, if I hear somebody is attracted to children, I'm going to fuck them up. That's not a good thing to say. The good thing to say is like, if I hear somebody's trying to touch children or trying to do things with children, I'm going to fuck them up. That makes sense, okay? So, let me know what you think about this video. I know it was long. That's what she said. The adult woman said. I'm out. Later.